Okay, a couple of you were asking for a video on the Pythagorean theorem. Probably need to put more of those into that video for 13. I think it's 13.6. Let me see. Yeah, 13.6, I think number 6. But this goes back to previous classes where I'm sure you remember like a squared plus b squared equals c squared, probably from high school. But that's Pythagorean's theorem, and Pythagoras was a Greek mathematician, and what he found out is that if you have a right triangle, and this only works on right triangles, if you take the two shorter legs and you call them A and B, and it doesn't matter if you call that one A and B or if you switch it around, what matters is the hypotenuse, the longer side, is called C. So that's always the one that's across from the 90-degree angle. It's always the longest. So he found out that if you take B and you square it, and if you take A and you square it, and then you add those together, it will always equal C squared. So that's kind of what this problem was depending on you understanding. So let me see if I can write it here. I don't know if I'll have enough room. Let me erase this part so I have enough room to keep it on this page. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I'm going to go ahead and call this one a, and this one b, and this one c. So I have x squared plus x minus 5 squared equals x plus 5 squared. So when I square the x, the front, that can just stay x squared. There's nothing really I can do. But when I square this, the biggest error that people make is they square the x and then they square the 5. And you can't do that. So let me, because it's a binomial, let me do it down here in a different color. So if I have x minus 5 squared, that means I have x minus 5 times another x minus 5. So I'm going to have to use FOIL and get x squared minus 5x minus another 5x and then plus 25. The plus comes from the negative 5 times the negative 5. So if I combine this, there's like terms right here. So I can combine negative 5x and negative 5x and get negative 10x plus 25. So now if I go back over to my equation, I can write that in here. So plus x squared minus 10x plus 25. I can do the same thing with this one. Let me go back over here. And if I have enough room, I'll try. So I have x plus 5 times x plus 5. So I have x squared plus 5x plus another 5x plus 25. So I have x squared plus 10x plus 25. So x squared plus 10x plus 25. So now I've simplified that whole equation, and now I don't have any parentheses left. Since I have the x squared, then I'm going to have to factor it. So if I'm going to factor it, I need everything on one side. So I'm going to go ahead and put these together. So these make 2x squared minus 10x plus 25 equals x squared plus 10x plus 25. I'm going to go ahead and move my x squared over by subtracting it. Now I have x squared, because 2x squared minus 1x squared makes 1x squared, minus 10x plus 25 equals 10x plus 25. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 10x to get all my values on one side. That's going to give me x squared minus 20x plus 25 equals 25. I'm going to subtract my 25. This is getting sloppy and squishy, sorry. And I'm going to get x squared minus 20x equals 0. So let me write that on the next page. Oops. 20x equals 0. So now I'm going to have to factor it. It doesn't factor to a binomial, but I can see that these two terms have something in common. So I'm going to pull out the greatest common factor, which is x. That's going to leave me with x minus 20, because I'm dividing x by both of those, those terms both by x. So now that I have that I've gotten rid of the exponent of 2, I can now set them each equal to 0 and solve them. So if I add 20 here, I get x equals 20. So my answers are 0 and 20. I know that it doesn't make sense that x is 0 because when they had the original, this was x, let me go back and look at x plus 5, this was x minus 5, and this was x. Well, a distance can't be 0, so I know that that answer I don't want, because with exponents, sometimes with this quadratic equation you get two solutions, and depending on the context in which the solutions came from, one of them would be ridiculous. So now I know that the answer must be 20. I can check it out, because if the answer is 20, if x is 20, that means this side is 20. It means this side is 25, because if x is 20, this side was x plus 5. And it means this side is, 15, because that side was x minus 5, and 20 minus 5 is 15. Now I can check out Pythagorean's theorem and see if it works. Is 15 squared plus 20 squared going to be the same as 25 squared? You can do that on your calculator. What you're going to find is this side equals 625 and this side equals 625, and then you know you're right. So hopefully this video helps you. This kind of problem does come up on the final exam once in a while. I've seen it come and go. It's not on there every single time, but it's good to know just in case it is, because each problem is worth 6 points and there's only like 11 or 12 problems on the exam. So it's just a good one to make sure that you know. But like I said, it's not one of those that shows up every single time. So hopefully this video will help you guys through it.